Hey guys, welcome back. I have another knife for you today. This one is on the NeOn NL, which is part of the more affordable lineup that Shirogorov has come out with, now available on their NeOn Zero design, which is replacing the NeOn Ultra Lite, which was the more affordable counterpart to the now discontinued NeOn Lite. So let's go ahead and take a look at this knife, and more importantly also compare it to the NeOn Zero, which is the more feature-filled version of this design right here. So first thing I want to take a look at here is the overall specs of the knife. Taking a look at the design, most of you guys can tell you can probably see that it's very similar to the NeOn Zero. However, there are a few differences that are not just visible on the knife, but in terms of the size and dimensions as well. Overall, you're still getting very close to a 3.5 inch cutting length with an overall length of around 7 5/8 inches, so a little bit over 7.5 inches overall length. Now, when comparing this to a NeOn Zero, the actual blade length is shorter, and later on in the video, we'll see why. It's because of the lack of the back spacer, which facilitates a longer blade. The blade itself, actually, though, is Elmax steel in a full flat grind. This is contrasted with the NeOn Zero, which has a high flat grind. The blade itself has a very similar profile. However, there is a lack of swedging here on top, and also the jimping profile is different. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the NeOn NL first. I actually do prefer this jimping right here. This is similar to what we saw on the F95. And personally, I think it's a much more functional jimping pattern, and this does definitely have a little bit more grip than the NeOn Zero, which I find really nice. When comparing it here to a NeOn Zero blade, you can see the swedge running across the top of the spine of the blade, and also this more wide jimping here. The blade profile, though, overall is pretty much the same when looking at it head-on, however. I really think that Shirogorov did a great job with the design of the NeOn NL blade. You can definitely tell it's a much more simplified version of the NeOn Zero. However, the features, like you see here with the jimping, the higher grind, I think just contributes to a blade profile that's probably a much more easy to use in terms of the grip, and also probably has a little bit better slicing capability as well. The blade profile is still 3.5 millimeters, just like on all of the other NeOns, but with that higher blade grind, I assume this knife would cut just that much better. Overall, though, really great. I wasn't really a fan of the NeOn Lite and Ultra Light blade profile. Those two knives basically had the same blade profile, just in different steels. But this one here is distinctly different from the NeOn Zero, while still being simplified, and in my eyes, actually a little bit more attractive as an EDC knife again. So a really great job there, and I really like that they're distinguishing the knife from the NeOn Zero in a different way than just the blade steel. Taking a look at the handle here, you can kind of see the namesake of the NeOn NL is this inlay. This inlay here is maroon micarta. They come in a green micarta version, and then now also a black one, which is new. And this inlay is a little bit proud of the handles here, as you can see, by not much, but it definitely is raised. The micarta itself has a little bit of texture. It's not the coarsest micarta I've seen. This definitely has been, the texture definitely has been knocked down to give it a smoother feel. Overall, really nice color on this one. I really like the maroon. It's something definitely different. You can see that the inlay continues here on the lock side as well. Otherwise, the handle profile is pretty much exactly the same as the NeOn, except for this inlay and also this lanyard hole. This lanyard hole is something that we also saw on the NeOn Ultra Lite, which again was the budget version of the NeOn Lite. where instead of having a full backspacer, you have this titanium standoff with the lanyard hole on the show side itself, like the F95. So it's really nice to see that continued on here, and this really just reinforces the fact that this is the more affordable version of the NeOn Zero. Now, the backspacer, or sorry, the standoff, from as far as I can tell, is the exact same style and perhaps maybe even dimensions as the ultralight standoff. So as you can see here, nice polished titanium standoff. And additionally, in lieu of the backspacer, you have this very minimal 3 titanium rods here that serve to help protect your fingers from getting poked by the blade, since the blade to handle ratio on Shirogorov knives is so great. I really think this is a very novel and unique approach to this, and you can definitely tell that they were going for a very minimal design. As you can see, is the overall, I think, theme of this knife being a very no-nonsense, affordable EDC option. And as you can see here, with that these titanium rods here, it perfectly protects your fingers from being poked by the edge of the blade, which is really nice. Now, because there is a lack of a backspacer, this is why the blade is, I believe, around 2 to 3 millimeters shorter than on the NeOn Zero. If you take a look at the NeOn Zero, the way the backspacer works is it actually extends past the length of the handles themselves and allows an even longer blade than the handle would normally be able to accommodate. As you can see here, it literally wraps around the tip of the blade, which is really nice. Now, since the NeOn NL does not have this and has these rods here, this is pretty much limiting the blade length, and so because of that, we're having a shorter blade length on the NeOn NL compared to the NeOn Zero. And taking a look at the lock side, you can see here that it's pretty much, besides the inlay, very similar to what you see on the Zero. The clip, as far as I can tell, is exactly the same. We have the same lock bar relief cut here as on the NeOn Zero as well. Taking a look here on the inside of the handles, you can see that we have that, let me get my light here, that MRBS logo, and then also, interestingly enough, very similar tool pathing, kind of this faux internal milling that we saw on the NeOn Lite, the more premium version of the last generation of NeOns. That was very interesting because now that the NeOn Zero has full internal milling, as you can see here, this has kind of not really milling, but kind of, I guess, more ornamental type milling paths. So you can see the paths themselves look exactly like what you would expect to see the milling holes on the Zero. So that's interesting. Going back to what I was saying earlier, the NeOn Lite, the premium version of the NeOn, has the same exact engravings on the inside of the handle, while the NeOn Ultra Lite, the budget one, had nothing at all. It was completely slab side inside. So it's funny to see that now the NeOn Zero, having full internal milling, the budget version has this kind of like ornamental tool pathing. So I thought that was interesting as well. But otherwise, not too much to expect, especially if you've handled a NeOn Zero. These perform quite similarly. So I expect that, especially having this knife be, I believe, a little bit more than $100 cheaper than the NeOn Zero. This is definitely a very attractive option for somebody getting into Shirogorov knives. I love the blade profile, and in some ways, I actually prefer it to the NeOn Zero. I really do wish it had the swedge, though. I think that would really put it over the top, but I understand why they reserve that for the Zero. But otherwise, really great option here. And again, with the choice in colors, there's a little bit more personalization to, and I think actually flare as well on the handle compared to just a completely naked NeOn Zero. Now, with the NeOn R20, there is some, more intricate milling available for the same price point. But some people do really like these inlays, and I can't fault them, especially if you like that color. Really nice options there. And again, I think this really rounds out the Shirogorov lineup and replaces the truly needed and affordable NeOn Ultra Lite, which seem to be very popular actually. Otherwise, I think that's it about this knife, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and look forward to seeing you again next time.